Did not want to preach. I felt like the standard was too high. People judge you, people look at you, looking for something wrong. Did not want to do it. Hey y'all, it's Shawana Stevens with the Well Network, and this is the Life and Podcast, because you know life be lifing. Hey y'all. Hey y'all, it's Shawana Stevens with the Life and Podcast. Hey y'all. Listen, I am stubborn and sometimes hard-headed. I know to do something, but I won't do it because of the moment. I may not feel like it. I may not just want to, but I can be stubborn. All in all, that's the message. Okay. But what I know is that when God is trying to tell you something, it doesn't matter how stubborn you are. It doesn't matter how much you want to do it your way. When he's trying to tell you something, he will get the message across. But sometimes we don't even know that he's trying to get a message across. So this episode is about identifying when God is trying to tell your butt something. Okay. There are seasons of our lives where nothing is going right. It's almost as though if it just doesn't matter. Like whatever we try to do, it just doesn't go right. Those are seasons that I have learned that I need to take a moment and just figure out what's going on, reset, seek the face of the Lord to figure out what am I missing. So that's the first thing. When you are in a season and it seems like nothing is going right, you just can't get it to fit. It just will not go right. Those are the seasons that you might want to listen, because the big guy might be trying to tell you something. Also, there are some seasons where something really traumatic will happen. A big event will happen, some catastrophe. And sometimes we'll be walking around like we don't realize that that thing is really big. But in those seasons, can I say this? Pay attention, because God is trying to tell you something. And there are times where I have had something really traumatic happen to me, and people around me who know God is trying to tell me, hey, listen. Or they may be actually saying what I believe God is trying to tell me, but I still won't listen because I want to do it my way. Can I say this? You don't want your life to be turned upside down because you just didn't listen. There are some things that we can even avoid if we would just listen. So I want to say that not only will things go wrong, but sometimes there's one big thing that can make things start falling and being placed differently in our lives. And those are the seasons that we need to wake up. It's nothing like being asleep and a whole conversation is going on around you, but it's stuff you need to hear. And I want to make sure that we're not sleeping in seasons that are critical. All right. So last thing I want to say about God trying to tell you something is the fact that there are some seasons, again, where we are sleeping. My mind goes back to Samuel in the Bible, where um, God was trying to call him, right? God was trying to get him to a new place. And in the midnight hour, in the time where he should have been asleep, God was actually calling his name. And one of the things that I remember really vividly, when I first realized that God was calling me to preach, not something that I wanted to do. And if I can take a moment, it's still not something that I want to do. In my mind, I'm a singer. I wanted to do pageants and talent shows and all that kind of stuff like that. Did not want to preach. I felt like the standard was too high. People judge you. People look at you, looking for something wrong. Did not want to do it. But what I know is that there would be situations that would arise where I felt like God was calling my name. And when you look up the word name in the Greek, you'll find that the word name means your character or the things about you that make you you. And what I realized in that season was that I kept being faced with situations where I could hear God calling my character to the situation. And so I want to say this to you. There are seasons in your life where God will call you by your name by way of your character and certain situations that are solutions to other people's problems. So, in that, God is calling you. He's trying to get your attention, and you got to be sensitive enough to hear, not just with your physical ear, but with your spiritual ear as well. So, when you are in a season where it seems like nothing won't go right, or when a big catastrophe happens, a big event happens, like Jonah being thrown out the boat, or whatever have you, know that God's trying to tell you something. And lastly, when you are the solution to the problem and it ain't no other solution around, God is trying to tell you something. Stay up.